Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
Hello there. The cooler conditions that we started the week with will continue overnight tonight into Tuesday. By Wednesday, starting to return to average conditions, and will level out there for much of the rest of the forecast period. High pressure before and after a round of thunderstorms on Thursday. Current standing has Charleston at the second wettest August on record, only 0.12 inches away from first place, but we could end the month in second place, struggling to pick up much accumulation over the next 7 days. That quarter to a half inch is generally from Elkins towards Lewisburg and east of there. High pressure, that's our main weather influencer. With that, some dry air. The lower the dew point, the cooler the overnight temperature, especially with some clearer skies initially. Valley fog does set up, allowing for some reduced visibility in your early morning commute. Then we'll see some sunshine and some comfortable conditions Tuesday afternoon. FlyCRW forecast, it starts at home. A decent week for many areas you could be traveling to. DC, not quite as hot in the coming days. Charlotte also not much past 90. Meanwhile, still hot and stormy for Orlando and Tampa. Panhandle to panhandle forecast, getting down into some mid-50s, looking north. As mentioned, some fog possible toward Moundsville and Mannington. We'll see highs then shy of 80 here with some sunshine on Tuesday. Going east, we'll see more 50s, generally mid-50s, then 84 for Martinsburg, 83 toward Petersburg. A cool start to the day for Snowshoe at 48 on Tuesday, then a high of 70 there. 77 Elkins, 80 for Spencer and Parkersburg. As we look across southern West Virginia, from Marlinton to Huntington, we'll see upper 40s to mid-50s, then some upper 70s toward mid-80s. Gradually getting back more consistently near average. As mentioned, it's just Thursday for rain.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Red 57, hot.
I don't believe what I just saw.
Bill McKenzie kicks a 38-yard field goal on the final play of the football game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
It is a great night to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be.
From the home of the state's land-grant institution, inside the Health Plan Studios, in the Dale B. Miller Building in Morgantown, it's time for the state's most listened-to sports talk show. This is the CityNet Statewide Sportsline. CityNet, cybersecurity experts for the digital age. And now, across the state of West Virginia and beyond, Sportsline is on the air.
Sportsline Monday night. We're back another week. We're inching again, as I say every week, inching closer to the start of the football season. We've made it for high school, as our Metro News programming for high school sports and high school football will resume this week, and we'll get games on Thursday and Friday. Mountaineers, their opener a week from Saturday. Kyle Wiggs and Greg Hunter with you inside the Health Plan Studios. This is the CityNet Statewide Sportsline for Monday. Greg, good evening.
Good evening. Isn't it amazing? And we spend all this time waiting, and then when it gets here, you go, "Oh my gosh!"
I know. Then
Then
it hits you. Then it's almost too fast.
Yeah.
Once
exactly.
It ultimately comes. The first Metro News high school football power rankings are out, so that's always interesting. You've got 20 knuckleheads that work for the company in some fashion, calling games or writing about them. So we'll get into that if time permits. Great weekend, great week for the WVU women's soccer team at number 23. They, of course, beat Penn State last week and then won again on Sunday. So we've got some comments from head coach Nikki Izzo-Brown. The Mountaineer men are playing right now.
Yep.
Their home opener against St. Bonaventure, and they need a bounce-back win after losing at Charlotte 3-0 last week. So the Mountaineer men home to St. Bonaventure. Joe Brocato is there. And again, that game has been underway for about 10 minutes. So if they get to halftime before 7 o'clock, Joe will join us with an update from the field. So again, a full plate. And let's hear from some Mountaineer players. You want to start there?
Absolutely. I think it was some very insightful people on Friday, and a couple that we haven't heard from much before.
Including Cam Torbor. And you've talked about that story, the fact that he was a basketball player and didn't start playing football until he was a junior in high school. 6'3", 240 pounds now. And interesting because of his pedigree. His father played in the NFL for a long time.
Yeah, and, certainly Cam himself grew up around the sport, but thought of himself as a basketball player until his, like you said, junior year, talked into playing football, and really didn't even, if you look at his bio, didn't play a ton his junior year in high school. Now, he played at a really elite high school, at Hoover High School in Alabama, but, gets a taste of it. His junior year, senior year, becomes an all-state player in the state of Alabama. But we know the recruiting circuit, a lot of times your junior year is where your recruiting resume is built. And for him, he gets into his senior year, and, Rich and company knew of him because of their Jackson State background, and ends up recruiting him to West Virginia, and he continues to develop. And I'm not promising he's going to be a starter this year, but he'll be a factor for West Virginia.
So he committed to Jacksonville State in that crew, but never played there.
Correct.
Of course, Rich and part of that staff moved up here, and Cam Torbor came with them. So the first reaction from Cam Torbor talking about moving from basketball to football while in high school.
Yeah, I played basketball most of high school. Started playing football my junior year. I started talking to this coaching staff at Jack State, and then when they came up here, we kind of kept in contact. So, I wasn't playing for that long, and I feel like that's just kind of how it turned out.
So he ends up at West Virginia, and as we mentioned, his father, Reggie, played at Auburn, was a star there, and then went on to the NFL. So Cam Torbor discussed that, the influence that his NFL playing father had on him moving to football and then eventually becoming a high-level college player.
I don't know. It didn't really affect the decision, but it definitely helped. We would always go over film and stuff like that. He would definitely help me become a better player faster.
And what was he kind of like on your journey to football, and then now here to West Virginia? What has his support been like?
He's been there. He's been there the whole way. He's always there to lend an ear. He's dad when he needs to be and coach when he needs to be. So he's been more than I could ask for.
That certainly helps.
Yeah, doesn't hurt to have a former NFLer who can tell you things and go over things. And so nice to be dad when he has to be. But yeah, that's a benefit. But above and beyond the beneficial aspect, and I'm not going to degrade what that means, but he's also got a DNA aspect to him that a lot of people don't have, because 6'3", 240, and then runs really, really well.
So his father, Reggie, played linebacker, again at Auburn, and then in the NFL with the Giants, Dolphins, and Bills, and 6'2", about 250. That's where he maxed out as a professional, so pretty similar.
Yeah, Cam maybe a smidge taller, but yeah, right now as a redshirt freshman in college, he's 240, so you could see him being one of those 250-plus guys by the time his college career is over. But keep that athleticism, even if he doesn't gain another pound, keep the athleticism he has right now, and that's a special player, certainly now, but in a couple of years especially.
And Cam Torbor talked about moving up on the WVU depth chart after redshirting last year.
It's been the same from my point of view. I just come in, work as hard as I can. Since I've been here, that's kind of been my thing. Run to the ball. Even if you don't know what you're doing, just run to the ball, and that's kind of what I've been doing since I got here, and I think that's kind of how it got me where I'm at.
So where does he stand on the depth chart, in your estimation?
Yeah, probably a 3 right now. You got Ben Cutter and Ashton Woods, two guys who have played a lot of football last year, Woods prior to his injury. But then you have two transfers coming in Tyler Stolsky and Malachi Hood, probably ahead of him. Isaiah Patterson, another transfer, also very prominent in that linebacker room. and then right in there with them, Cam Torbor. So, I mean, you got a room of 6, most of whom have a lot of experience. Torbor's the only one without a ton. He played a little bit last year, but in the old days, he was still a red shirt. Not that that matters anymore.
Right.
But, he factors in. And again, not that he's going to move above those guys anytime soon for a starting slot, but he'll play in a rotational level at linebacker, and you could see him being a part of every single special teams, basically.
Dad was a big-time pass rusher, 10.5 sacks as a senior, all-SEC. Again, maybe we can't expect that, but does he have similar pass rushing acumen, you think?
Maybe. I mean, that's not the position he is playing right now. They're playing him more as one of their box linebackers, Will and Mike. But you could see if he gets a little bit bigger and continues that athleticism, he could move to their edge and be one of the, a pass rushing linebacker. That would not be hard to foresee as well in his future. But for right now, just learning a traditional inside linebacker role.
Couple more with Cam Torbor here. As we mentioned, he moved from Jacksonville State to West Virginia. You mentioned his first offer. His first offer came from Austin Peay. His first football offer came from Austin Peay, and then the Jacksonville State coaches got involved. Cam Torbor on that process.
Once I went up to Jack State and met all the coaches up there, I definitely wanted to go there. So the fact that they still wanted me at West Virginia, that meant a lot to me.
What did you know about West Virginia before you got here? Much?
Not much at all, to be honest. When I was playing basketball, I didn't watch football or much of anything, so it was all new to me.
Yeah, another guy coming from the South. The one thing you learn very quickly is there's winter here.
You've got a few days of that on occasion, but again, a couple of things in that sort of jumped out to me. As I said, he didn't play a ton as a junior in high school, but the Jack State staff was already recruiting him based off of junior film. So they had seen something in him before he even sort of started to hit his stride at Hoover. So they realized and then were able to carry that over to West Virginia. And he was part of that first Rich class. I mean, he wasn't one who just came in and was, building after Rich and his staff got here and got their feet on the ground. He came in a part of that first group when Rich was here a very short period of time and was able to really assemble a class from here, there, and everywhere from scratch. So believed in the thought process, and now it's paying off, certainly for Torbor and for West Virginia. One
more from Cam Torbor. What does he bring to the table?
I think I could bring just a lot of effort, and I think when I use that effort, I can get after the ball a little bit and, pressure quarterback. I think I'm really just here. Let Coach Allen use me best way he sees fit. If he want me to blitz, I'm gonna blitz. If he want me to go get somebody, I'm gonna go get him.
So effort and coachability.
Yeah, and again, a dad who's played in the NFL, you'd like to think he has a little knowledge, though he hasn't played a ton of football in the past. But, again, a basketball transition to football isn't unheard of. You like that athleticism, but it's a little different for linebackers. So you're always worried, and I'm going to be the stereotypical meathead football guy, but if they're tough enough, to be honest with you, to make the transition. But so far for him, that has not been a problem. He's a basketball guy. He showed himself tough enough to be a linebacker. Sometimes say, wide receiver, defensive back, but you're not hiding a guy who's soft at linebacker.
Cam Torbor there, his thoughts. We'll take a break. We'll go to the other side of the line of scrimmage and talk receivers in depth when we return. We're underway on this Monday. The CityNet statewide sports line will return to the Health Plan Studios in a moment. Since 1979, the Health Plan has called West Virginia home. From humble beginnings, they've grown alongside West Virginia, becoming a part of its fabric. For over 4 decades, they've been here through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses, proudly serving West Virginia for over 40 years. The Health Plan.
We are there for you, to care for you at the Health Plan. We are here for you.
It's good to have options for your family or employees. Rooted in your community since 1979, the health plan is your trusted partner. Get flexible coverage, exceptional support, and competitive rates.
The health plan, we are here for you.
When was the last time you checked your home's fire safety? From working smoke alarms and clear escape routes to safe heating in the winter, small checks make a big difference. The West Virginia State Fire Marshal's Office has launched a quick, easy home safety survey to help you spot simple fixes around your house before emergency strikes. Take just 5 minutes today to keep your family safe. Visit firemarshal.wv.gov to complete your home safety survey. A message from the West Virginia State Fire Marshal.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline
Returns in 2 minutes.
on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Football season begins right here on Metro News Television. Join us Thursday, August 27th for the 2026 WVSSAC kickoff game. Presented by the Army National Guard. The Cameron Dragons battle the Clay Battelle Seabees live from Blacksville. Don't miss the first kickoff of the new season, the 2026 WVSSAC kickoff game. Thursday, August 27th at 7 p.m. Pre-game coverage starts at 6:30 p.m. Powered by GoMart, only on Metro News Television.
On the next State of Minds.
I was in liver failure, and I was told I needed to quit drinking or I was going to die, and that was at 36. When he invited me to church, all the hair on my arms, my chest, my back, it all stood up. You're taught to love, you're taught to forgive, and there's a reason for that. It lets you be healthy and lets you move forward with a vision for your life that's not defined by what happened to you.
Across West Virginia, connection begins with fast, reliable fiber internet. Connecting overlooked communities to what matters most. Protecting businesses with managed IT and advanced cybersecurity backed by local experts. Perfecting technology experiences while investing in West Virginia's future. CityNet, built and supported by West Virginians, for West Virginia.
It's our 23rd anniversary, and to celebrate, we're having a huge anniversary sale all month long on all Toyota trucks and pre-owned vehicles. We've discounted over 100 pre-owned vehicles this month, most of which are local one-owner trades. Great deals on all our Toyota trucks, and with over 90 in stock, now is the time to get yours. From our family to yours, we want to thank you for all the support over 23 years. Dan Cava, Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
CityNet statewide Sportsline. It is a Monday. Kyle and Greg with you. Brad will be back tomorrow. Rich Rodriguez will meet the media again. We'll get an update tomorrow. Have those comments for you later in the show. Mountaineer men's soccer team playing St. Bonaventure. We hope to get an update following the first half from Joe Brocato, who is on site. Metro News High School football power rankings are out. Time permitting, we'll go over that. Texter says, I'm so glad high school football season is here. Looking forward to my Big Reds against Morgantown this coming Friday night. Indeed, Parkersburg will host the defending Quad A state champ Morgantown Mohegans on Friday.
Yeah, a lot of good games in week one, right? Or Thursday 0. I don't know which you want to call the Thursday games, but between Thursday and Friday, there's a lot of good games to start off. But that's certainly one of them. Speaking
of that, of course, it is the Metro News SSAC Kickoff Classic Thursday. Clay Battelle against Cameron. We'll have that game on the Metro News TV app, and we'll try to. I know we're lined up with the Clay Battelle coach. We'll try and make sure that gets evened out. Try and visit with the Cameron coach this week, leading up to that game. Get us a preview of the Kickoff Classic. Texter, spreading rumors here, Greg.
Okay.
Social media going crazy. Pat McAfee in Morgantown for the Pat White jersey retirement ceremony. Any truth to that? Have you heard that? If so, will he do his Friday show from Morgantown?
I don't know. I mean, as close as Pat and Pat are, it wouldn't surprise me. Certainly McAfee was in town when they announced that the jersey was going to be retired for Pat White. and was part of that, video.
So it would make sense if he was here.
Yeah, it would not surprise me, but West Virginia has not announced that, and that's sometimes those are the type of things they like to keep secret.
Yeah.
So we'll wait and see. Wouldn't surprise me. And will they do it have his show here? It's been here before.
Mm-hmm.
So all that's a possibility, but I cannot confirm on any of it.
Texter asks, when does the Rich Rodriguez radio show begin? It begins next Monday. So we've got, is this the last time he'll speak tomorrow?
No, well.
Before game week?
No, there'll be one tomorrow,
Okay.
and then his normal game week schedule.
Okay, so next Tuesday.
Yeah, next Tuesday. Then they'll start their weekly interview sessions Tuesday afternoon.
So we're on kind of a game type schedule already with him meeting the
Just
media
once.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then next week's game week, his radio show returns on Monday night, and his weekly news conference occurs on Tuesday afternoon. And then, of course, next Saturday, it'll be West Virginia against Coastal Carolina, a week from Saturday in the season opener. All right, wide receiver position. John Neider has come in as a transfer from Connecticut. We've heard great things about his dependability and his consistency.
Yeah, and it has a little bit of size to him as well. And a kid who just catches everything. Was a really nice piece to a good offensive puzzle at UConn, and had 40-some catches there for the Huskies. Now, they had the nation's leading receiver with over 100, and then they also had a rushing game that rushed for their leading rusher was well over 1,000 yards. So they had just a dynamic offense. That's why their coach, Jim Moyer Jr., ended up getting a new job at Colorado State. He left UConn, so West Virginia jumps in. They get John Neider. They also get one of the offensive linemen in Karsten Cassidy. And Neider's very much part of this wide receiver rotation, and wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't start alongside Jaden Bray. I mean, they've got a couple other guys. I mean, it's probably right now you're looking probably a 4-man rotation for the 2 outside receiver spots, and he's certainly one of those.
So John Neider, how does it feel to be described as dependable, consistent, and reliable?
It's just showing up every day and doing what you're asked for, and beyond that, I just go out there. I know what the coaches want. I know what needs to be done, and I try to do that and more every day.
Where does that come from in your background?
Just being an underdog my whole life, just always being doubted, so I know I have to do extra, do more to get the attention of people. It's just in my DNA.
So the underdog moniker, and that fits right in, obviously, as we hear from John Neider again, the WVU culture, oftentimes the underdog.
I think Coach Rod did a great job bringing together a group of people who have been doubted or have had that shaky past where they've been doubted, and we're all just hungry. We want to win. We're all a bunch of underdogs, and not many people know about a lot of us, but we want to win and we want to make change.
Mm-hmm. So again, we've talked about how these receivers, in an effort to build depth and in an effort to make them more complete players, they've kind of moved around a little bit, learning all the positions or learning different positions. I guess.
And he's a guy, again, we've gone over this before, but he was a high school quarterback.
Right. We'll talk about that.
Yeah. Went to UConn as a walk-on and quickly moved to wide receiver. But because I think of his quarterback background, then, just a smart kid who's being, cross-trained at West Virginia, having to and getting to learn all the positions on the football field, certainly wide out, but also those slot receiver spots as well.
He talked about that, getting reps at the slot receiver position during preseason camp.
Yeah, we got a bunch of guys rotating in there. It's nice getting a look at the slot, moving around all over on the offense, just getting a feel for the offense in different spots, so it's nice.
Played in the slot before?
We moved back at UConn. We had guys moving all over, so I have played in there a little bit, yeah.
So used to that a bit, and he talked again, John Neider, Mountaineer receiver, talked about starting his college career as a quarterback.
It definitely helps out a lot. It helps me with reading defenses or just even trying to understand what the quarterbacks are thinking. I try to get into their shoes sometimes to try to see what they're seeing, because the more I'm on the same page with them, the better it is for us.
John Neider there. All right, let's take a deep dive into the receivers with receivers coach Ryan Garrett. And Jaden Bray, top of mind, a guy who's had just brutal luck, no luck in terms of injuries since he's been here. So Ryan Garrett talked about what his message has been for Jaden Bray this preseason camp.
You know, that's a tough question because he hasn't played as much as he'd like to or we would have liked him to play yet. You know, I mean, the kid is super conscientious. When it's something technique-wise that we notice on film, he's constantly working it. He's in here early, he stays late. It's just Bray just needs to get out there and play. And he's in a position right now to do that, so we're really excited about where he's at.
So you're hoping for a healthy Jaden Bray. That's first and foremost in terms of this wide receiver position group. Now, there's a bunch of new guys that we've all talked about, so let's hear what the coaches have to say. We'll start with Prince Strawn, 6'5", 210 pounds, the redshirt junior who's been around, but now, again, another guy who's had injury issues, now has a chance to make an impact here at West Virginia.
Prince got hurt at USC as well in the first game, so I don't know what that role would have looked like there for him. I know he's a really dedicated kid, obviously has great length, and you see what he was able to do at Boise. But he's come in with a mindset that he's ready to work. I've been really pleased with that adjustment for him coming here. You know, you never know how it's going to be because he's been out in Idaho and USC. This is a totally different part of the country, but he treats it like he's a pro. You know, obviously with his brother being in the NFL, that gives him a little bit of an advantage, I think, over your normal transfer where he knows what that looks like and he knows what those habits look like. So he's done a great job integrating with our group, and he's been working his butt off, so I'm excited for him to get a couple opportunities soon.
So three guys we've talked a lot about here tonight, Jaden Bray, John Neider, and Prince Strawn, you're going to see a lot of.
Yeah. Oh, certainly. No doubt about that. Again, I think health is the biggest concern. Well, certainly we know from Bray's past, though, he's been healthy through the spring and fall. Knock on wood that returns. But Strawn's had some health issues not only last season at USC, but also through the early part of this preseason camp. He's struggled some with injuries. It sounds like he's back on the field and close to 100% now. But again, with everybody on his football team, as we saw last year, injuries can decimate a whole roster position. West Virginia has enough guys there that if they're healthy, they're in good shape. But you start losing two or three of them, then all of a sudden you worry. Strawn's one they really want to keep on the field. I mean, nobody more so than Bray, but Strawn's got some God-given gifts that you can't teach.
So we'll get a little bit more into specific players who are coming up, but a couple of cuts back-to-back about philosophies and execution. So, again, we talked about the receivers learning the different positions, and what does that look like from a coaching perspective from receivers coach Ryan Garrett?
Yeah, we're doing a lot of it with quite honestly most of them right now. We feel like we've got a room full of some pretty flexible guys and guys that have done it, so they're doing a good job of that. Now it's just up to us as coaches finding the best groupings and based on situation, our opponent, to use them. But they're all working on that. Some guys it comes a little more natural to, but the other guys are working hard to learn it. I think a big part of that is just getting comfortable. You know, there's a difference when you're in the slot. Majority of the time, you're not getting press, and if you are, it's not the same press that you're used to outside. So sometimes those free releases can happen fast, and things can get on you quick. So finding a little bit of your space in there and understanding the picture's a little bit different. Usually once we overcome that, everything becomes a lot smoother. So just getting the reps at it.
So players moving around, that's one thing, and blocking downfield, that's another thing that is an absolute essential part of playing wide receiver in this offense.
I tell our guys all the time, 90% of perimeter blocking is willingness and want to. You know, we have, if you go in our position room, we've got a sign up that says, how hard can I work for my teammates today? And I think that's what it comes down to. Now, technique's important. Obviously, having some size and the strength to hold up is important, but we don't really worry about, are we passing or are we running? We just challenge our guys to worry about doing their job, you know. And then in this offense, we're spread out. We've got a lot of opportunities to get the ball to a lot of different people. And if you got a hot hand, you got a hot hand. If it's beneficial for us to get you the football, we're going to get you the football. So being willing to do whatever you're asked to do is a big part of this, and so far they've been willing to do that.
All right, so making plays, obviously, but the willingness to block is another good way to get on the field and stay on the field.
Yeah, I mean, I've done this a long time. I haven't heard a wide receiver coach anywhere that says, our wide receivers don't need to block, but there are few of them who emphasize it more than those in Rich Rod's system, right? Because we know how run-heavy this typically is and how important that is. But, I mean, it goes both ways. I mean, if West Virginia can run the ball effectively and thus they're getting downfield blocks, that opens up the passing game as well. So those guys, it'll come around to benefit them with receptions if they block for the run game.
What about the group of freshmen on this team, the freshman receivers, the high school recruits? Coach Ryan Garrett's thoughts on that group?
I wouldn't say that. I mean, we're going to play the best guys. So part of the reason we brought these high school kids in, we told every one of them when we were recruiting them, we're not recruiting anybody to come in and not play. Anybody that we're signing, we think has a chance to come in and get onto the field. Now, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't tough for an 18-year-old to come in and compete with a guy like Jaden Bray, who's been in college for 5 years, but those kids have some really high ceilings and some certain skill sets that we were really attracted to when we were evaluating them. So I don't think it's out of the picture for any of them right now. They just need to adjust and get ready for college football and do what they're coached to do, and they might have an opportunity to get in the game.
So most prominently, Landon Drum and Malachi Thompson, most likely.
Robert
Thompson's.
Oliver,
okay.
Also another wide receiver, young wide receiver they like as well. But those three, there are a couple others also, but those are three that certainly sound like they're prominent amongst this true freshman class of wide receiver. The coaches have talked a lot about Drum at times, but he is dealing with an injury himself, and we don't know how much that's going to slow him down heading into the season. But Thompson, the Nitro kid, certainly has all the physical tools. Anybody saw him in high school knows he's got a real chance to be very good.
What about Landon Drum? Coach Ryan Garrett's thoughts on the freshman?
Landon's a guy I was really, really excited about when we found him. He was a really under-recruited kid with an awesome story, originally from Alaska. Didn't feel like he was getting enough exposure up there. But when you look back, his Alaska film was really, really good. I hadn't seen it. So his senior year of high school, he actually made the decision to move to Colorado, where he had a family friend, and really bet on himself to go have a good year. And, I mean, he absolutely crushed it out there, put out great film, and he was a guy we found late that we couldn't believe didn't have more going on. If you watch his high school tape, you see he's got length, speed, ball skills. He's a nasty perimeter blocker. He's really aggressive. I was a little bummed out that we weren't able to get him in here in the spring. He didn't graduate until June, but he came in this summer and he's worked his butt off. So he's made some great strides, and I'm really, really excited about him in the future.
So Landon Drum, one of the freshmen there, and again, you talk about all those attributes. He just listed them off that are – you hope you're able to get them out of a young player like this.
Yeah, I mean, having size isn't the only thing that can make a good wide receiver or a good football player in general, but let's face it, it does help. The size, speed, all those things that he seemingly has would be good. And for a guy who's come in the summer, I mean, most of the people that are competing for jobs right now are people who got here in January. I mean, even amongst the true freshmen. But he's a guy that at least has gotten notice when he didn't arrive here until June. So speaks a lot for where he's at. But again, the realistic part is how much has this latest injury set him back in that regard.
What about another guy new to the program, Keon Hutchins? The thoughts of Coach Ryan Garrett.
Keon has great speed, and he's a guy that, coming from JUCO, they obviously took advantage of his speed. So he was used to winning deep, which was a priority for us in recruiting. We needed to find some guys that could stretch the field, win vertically. Since he's been here, we've been focused on a lot of finer details. Big challenge to him last week was getting open in quick game, finding ways to get separation right there. And he answered the call and had his best week last week. So he's going to continue to work, but I'm excited about him and his skill set.
And Hutchins is a guy that's going to play this year. It's, how much he fits into that rotation at the wide receiver position when you're talking about Teron Francis, Prince Strawn, John Neider and Jaden Bray, where he fits after them. But maybe a little, after that group you couldn't foresee. But he's a guy that's got, again, speed the other four don't, that West Virginia will take advantage of at times.
Another guy who's going to play, Cyrus Traw. We've talked a lot about him, the Parkersburg South product who had a very good start to his college career at Youngstown State, had a 36-catch season for over 400 yards and 5 touchdowns, and now a part of the Mountaineer, Cyrus Traw.
You guys have heard it. I mean, we're all excited about Cyrus. You talk about, we say earned success here, and that's a kid who came in at 168 pounds when he got here, and now he's up above 200 and has just grinded in the weight room, grinded to get better at the things he needs to get better at. And everybody in the state knows what he was in high school, right? And obviously he had a good career at his last place, but he came here to play, and he hasn't looked for any easy ways out. He's a guy we feel like has a lot of position flexibility. But I'm super proud of Cyrus. He's always been a kid that's been fun to work with and about the right things. So hopefully this season everybody can see what we've seen.
Multi-sport athlete at Parkersburg South, played both at a high level, football and basketball. Again, went to Youngstown State, had spent a year redshirting, had a good first year there, was in the program last year, and now has an opportunity to play this year.
Yeah, didn't play a whole lot, but I mean, again, everybody who's seen him knows that he's always had toughness and he's had athletic ability, but now he's finally getting the size and strength to go with that you're going to have at this level. So as he's gained that, he's getting more and more a part of the rotation at wide receiver, and probably a guy who also, like several others, can move inside to the slot. He can play wide receiver, and we know he's going to play a ton of special teams, including maybe even some return duties.
One more. We started this segment with hearing from John Neider. What about the thoughts of Coach Ryan Garrett on John Neider?
Steady Eddie. He's done. He's probably been the most consistent in the group thus far. And a guy that does everything the right way. He doesn't say much. We make fun of him a little bit because he's so quiet, but he's locked into what he needs to do. He's extremely process-driven and does everything he's coached to do, So he's bought in, and the production's been there in camp, so I'm excited for him to get out there this season.
Well, there's a very significant and deep evaluation of the wide receiver position.
Yeah, and you can see they feel like they've got enough depth there. Again, you don't want to start having a wave of injuries, but you've got enough depth there and enough talent there that you feel like you can be really productive. And there's big play opportunities there. And again, it all balances. If you can run the ball, what Rich Rod's offense has shown that he can certainly find big plays in the pass game as well.
Text line open, 304-TALK 304, and we'll get to some of those when we return on the CityNet Statewide Sports Line.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
It's good to have options for your family or employees. Rooted in your community since 1979, the health plan is your trusted partner. Get flexible coverage, exceptional support, and competitive rates.
The health plan, we are here for you.
This boating season, elevate your family time with Lou Wendell Marine Sales. Proudly family-owned for over 40 years, Lou and his sons are West Virginia's largest Avalon pontoon dealer. Trusted experts in premium boats, motors, and service. Discover refined comfort, elegant design, and performance you can feel. Now is the perfect time to take advantage of preseason savings. At Lou Wendell Marine Sales, they don't just sell boats. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com because the weekend's almost here.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet Statewide Sports Line returns in 2 minutes on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
Hello there. The cooler conditions that we started the week with will continue overnight tonight into Tuesday. By Wednesday, starting to return to average conditions, and will level out there for much of the rest of the forecast period. High pressure before and after a round of thunderstorms on Thursday. Current standing has Charleston at the second wettest August on record, only 0.12 inches away from first place, but we could end the month in second place, struggling to pick up much accumulation over the next 7 days. That quarter to a half inch is generally from Elkins towards Lewisburg and east of there. High pressure, that's our main weather influencer. With that, some dry air. The lower the dew point, the cooler the overnight temperature, especially with some clearer skies initially. Valley fog does set up, allowing for some reduced visibility in your early morning commute. Then we'll see some sunshine and some comfortable conditions Tuesday afternoon. FlyCRW forecast, it starts at home. A decent week for many areas you could be traveling to. DC, not quite as hot in the coming days. Charlotte also not much past 90. Meanwhile, still hot and stormy for Orlando and Tampa. Panhandle to panhandle forecast, getting down into some mid-50s, looking north. As mentioned, some fog possible toward Moundsville and Mannington. We'll see highs then shy of 80 here with some sunshine on Tuesday. Going east, we'll see more 50s, generally mid-50s, then 84 for Martinsburg, 83 toward Petersburg. A cool start to the day for Snowshoe at 48 on Tuesday, then a high of 70 there. 77 Elkins, 80 for Spencer and Parkersburg. As we look across southern West Virginia from Marlinton to Huntington, we'll see upper 40s to mid-50s, then some upper 70s toward mid-80s. Gradually getting back more consistently near average. As mentioned, it's just Thursday for rain.
Hope to get an update from Joe Brocato from Dick DeLess Soccer Stadium. As, right, Greg, the Mountaineers and the St. Bonaventure Bonnies are scoreless.
Yeah, moving towards halftime, but 8-9 minutes to halftime, still 0-0, as they say.
Got a quick text question.
Mm-hmm.
Does Coach Hunter know how many they'll rotate on the offensive line? Well, they'll tell you 9 or 10.
My thought is 5. I think you go with a strong 5, and every coach has always said, "Oh, we're going to rotate." I don't think they rotate until it's a blowout, an injury, or there's a problem. And even last year, I mean, now Rick Trickett's the new offensive line coach, so he may have a different say, but he said he'll go iron 5 if that's what he thinks he's got. And I think they feel like their first 5 is good.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some questions in the next group. And I don't think they're going to rotate those. We years and years ago, West Virginia had a couple of times where they rotated a second unit in on a regular basis. I don't think this will be one of those. Just my sort of guesstimate as to where that is.
304 Talk 304. Again, we hope to get an update on the men's soccer game. How about the women? 3-0.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, the win over Penn State was huge, and then you have to worry about a letdown, right? Because you play just a couple of days later, which was yesterday, and WVU defeated Duquesne by a final of 2-0. Let's take a moment, hear from WVU women's coach Nikki Izzo-Brown from earlier today, and obviously this team is built upon defense, and she talked about what they emphasized defensively.
First and foremost, we definitely value shutouts. We know when we get into league play that you could get a point just for a shutout. So that'll be very, very important. The analytics are really big now. And Kevin, we look at loose ball duels. You know, I think that'll recognize a lot of the grit and you know what we're doing with that. So that's going to be important. You know, first and second ball duels. So there'll be a lot of different things we'll look at depending on which line we're talking about, if it's the defensive line, midfield, or forward. So there's a lot of things that we do look at when it comes to analytics, and maybe if it's an area of pressing or an area of entry balls in the attack. So we will look at those.
So West Virginia, every sport has its analytics now.
Yeah. Well, I like the one analytic that Greg Carey gave us last week, and I forget the exact number. I should have written it down. Remember, when West Virginia has scored multiple goals, so over one goal, they're like, what was it, 3-20, 15 and 2 or something? So, you know, that's in the history of the program, which is the history of Nikki Izzo-Brown.
Right.
So, I mean, it's amazing, the number, but it just shows how important what she has done defensively.
Well, that
can be.
that number has increased by 3 already because the Mountaineers are 3-0, and they've scored 2 goals in each of those 3 games. She talked about the importance of shutouts. They have 2 already, and the only goal allowed was Penn State, and West Virginia came from behind to win that game. So, again, the Mountaineers have scored 6 goals in 3 games so far, and most of those, 4 or 5 of those, have assists attached to them, and Nikki Izzo-Brown talked about the importance of that.
You never want one target on the team, so when you have some versatility, I think you make your team a little bit harder to defend. So my hope is that it's not just one player that people will be able to maybe close in on with us. So now with us having multiple areas that we could score, maybe makes it a little bit harder for opponents to scout us.
So 4 different players have an assist so far. The talk of the team is Sophia Nickel. She has a goal in all 3 games so far and has been coming off the bench. And she was named the WVU Student Athlete of the Week.
That'll work.
For her 3 goals in 3 games so far. And Coach Nikki Izzo-Brown talked about the impact of Sophia Nickel.
Yeah, I mean, experience is everything. I also really believe that she just is, a great locker room player. She just wants to go out there, win for the team, and she'll do it in whatever capacity we ask her to do it. So she's really embraced that spark plug role, but also, she's a real smart kid, and, she's also got, 2 years under her belt. So we really appreciate that.
Transfer from Kansas, and 3 goals already in her Mountaineer career, more than she scored in 2 years at Kansas.
Yeah, keep that rate up. You're going to be pretty good.
So the Mountaineer women, I believe they go on the road.
Yeah, I think for 2, Princeton and Army.
Okay, so
I think that's
on
right.
the road at Princeton on Thursday.
Next.
Closing in on the end of the first half, the Mountaineer men against St. Bonaventure, and we'll get an update from the field when we return. The CityNet statewide sports line will continue after this.
Struggling with weight can feel overwhelming, but you don't have to face it alone. At the WVU Medicine Medical and Surgical Weight Loss Center, we offer proven surgical options and compassionate support to help you achieve lasting weight loss and better health. We guide you every step of the way, from personalized planning to long-term success. Reserve your spot at a free, no-obligation information session. Call 304-293-1728 or visit wvumedicine.org/bariatrics.
Hey, this is Brad Howe for your local internet provider, CityNet. Fiber is now at your front door and even in rural areas and communities across West Virginia. Thanks to broadband expansion funding, your tax dollars helped make it possible. And CityNet turned that investment into real connections for local families and businesses. Now, you can get blazing fast fiber internet with free installation, free equipment, no long-term contract, and local customer support that's always close to home. Don't settle for slow or no internet for another day. When it's high-speed internet you need, CityNet.net connects, protects, and perfects.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide sports line returns in 2 minutes on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
In 1914, The same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
I'm Sean Kovich, Mountaineer Golf Coach. When disaster strikes your home, business, or golf game, call the restoration company the Mountaineers call. Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
Sitting at Statewide Sportsline Friday night. Thanks for joining us. 304 Talk 304. That's the text line. Texter says he saw Rich Rodriguez on the McAfee show recently. Stanford Steve's picking West Virginia to play in the conference championship game. Texter says that'd be nice. What's your take? Well, I think somewhere in the middle. In terms of a lot of people are picking West Virginia very low in the conference. What's the over/under? 5.5?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be more than that. I think they have a chance to get off to an excellent start, with the Virginia game being that hinge in there, which is going to tell us a lot.
I can't give a prediction. Our prediction show is Sunday
That's
between
right.
Travis
Okay.
and I. Historic prediction show, so you can certainly chime in now or Sunday, but I'll withhold mine until then.
I think 7 or 8. I don't think conference championship. I think that probably is a stretch. But I think I think 7 or 8. I think it's going to be a bigger win total than many of the nation's the national experts predict. All right, let's go to Dick DeLess Soccer Stadium. Halftime, West Virginia and St. Bonaventure scoreless. Joe Brocato, what's the story?
Very precious few scoring opportunities for either team so far in this match. As you mentioned, we're scoreless at the half and just one shot on goal registered by the Mountaineers. That's coming in the 34th minute of play. West Virginia has an edge in corner kicks, 5-1, and they've had more possession certainly than the Bodies have in the match, but very few legitimately good scoring opportunities either side after the first 45 minutes.
So we know, Joe, in soccer, I mean, sometimes fluky things can happen, but the more pressure you can put on, the better opportunities you're eventually going to have to come through. Does that feel like it's West Virginia's close enough that they're going to come through?
Yeah, and they've had a lot more of the ball, Greg, in the second and in the latter stages of the first half. So I think if you're Dan Stratford and his coaching staff going into the locker room at halftime, you're encouraged by that. But so far, 3 halves of soccer this year and no goals yet for the Mountaineers. Now, defensively, they haven't been tested much. And really, no changes to the starting lineup after last Thursday's 3-0 loss at Charlotte to open up the season. Just the one change, Braden Smith in for Thomas Bowe, but for the most part, Dan Stratford has kept his original starting lineup from last week's season opener, and just a couple of substitutions in the first half, but it's been the same guys run out there for the Mountaineers in each of the 2 games so far.
Yeah, this is a team obviously still trying to find its footing. He's alluded to multiple injuries in the preseason. It was a compressed preseason, and so far things aren't running on all cylinders yet. We all anticipate this team getting there, but Joe, it just hasn't happened yet.
No, it's still very early in the process, and I think you combine the fact that there are a couple of guys that are lost to the season already due to season-ending injuries. That certainly has shuffled the deck a little bit, and this is a team that was going to be working in lots of new players regardless of the injury situation coming in, and obviously some of those injuries started to stack up in the latter stages of the preseason. So, Dan Stratford's a 7th-year head coach here. He's seen just about every, type of tendency that a team can have, and I'm sure that there'll be some halftime adjustments, and we'll see what happens early stages of the second half.
All right, very good, Joe. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Joe Brocato will have the highlight package and the story at WVMetroNews.com after the game tonight, West Virginia St. Bonaventure in men's soccer. Texter says, what do you guys think of the football over-under 5.5 for the season? Says he's looking to make a wager. Don't do that on what I say.
No.
Looking for your opinion. I just said I think it's over. I think it's over 5.5. I know you don't want to give your total, but I would imagine you're thinking over 5.5 too.
I would think so. I won't give it, but like you, I mean, I follow this as close as anyone, and I'm sitting here, not in Vegas, making bets. So I am never going to say that I'll get these right. I've been right, I've been wrong, and I think this has a chance to be a better team than last year, but only time will tell.
Very good. Again, the Metro News Power Rankings out for the new high school football season. You can find them at wvmetronews.com. We're running short on time here, so I won't go through them all. But Morgantown, the defending Quad A champ, pick number 1. Martinsburg is number 2. Those two teams will meet during the regular season. And you've got Huntington, George Washington University rounding out the top 5 there in Quad A. The only unanimous number 1 team was Wheeling Central. Single A, of course, everyone knows what they've accomplished in high school football recently and through the decades. That'll do it for tonight's show. Thanks for listening. And we remind you that CityNet is West Virginia's local internet provider. High-speed, reliable fiber internet, probably right at your front door. Now's the perfect time to connect. Local customer support you can trust. Fast, reliable fiber internet built for everyday life. When it's high-speed internet you need, CityNet.net connects, protects, and perfects. Greg, thanks. We'll talk to you a little bit later in the week.
All right. Talk to you then.
For Greg, I'm Kyle. Thanks for listening and watching the CityNet Statewide Sports Line.
From the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet Statewide Sports Line is an exclusive production of the Metro News Radio Network. All rights reserved.